What's going on, guys? I've got an interesting video for you. 5 rules that every natural should do for optimal gains, alright? The 5 unwritten rules that say that a lot of people I don't see following, and that's why they're not getting the most results as natural lifters and they end up being frustrated. Let's jump straight into it. If you're new to this channel, I'm Charif, natural bodybuilder. Been doing it for over 13 years, preparing for my natural bodybuilding competition. 6-7 weeks out now. It's getting challenging, but I'm enjoying it. Alright, so let's jump straight into it. Number 1, a very important rule is that you gotta stay in the surplus for a longer time than you're in a deficit. Most of your time as a natural lifter, you want to be in a surplus, especially when you're starting. I see a lot of people chasing the abs, the six packs, being super shredded, and that's all good, that's all nice. After building that mass, after building that base, after building that foundation, all right? And for you to build that mass and foundation, you gotta be in a surplus. I'm not saying go on a 5,000 calorie surplus and eat junk food all day long, but you gotta understand that you're in a time when you're building the body, when you're building that mass, putting on that foundation. Well, you gotta be in a surplus and you gotta make sure that you're feeding your body, you're eating, and chasing the six-pack too soon will hurt you, will impact your gains, your hormones, your mood, everything else, alright? So you don't want to go in that vicious cycle of chasing the six-pack abs and being under 5% body fat if the foundation isn't there yet. So make sure you're in a surplus for a pretty good time. You're building your body, you're putting that mass on, and don't overdo it. Like I said, you don't want to go in the 5,000 calorie surplus. Make sure it's a small surplus. You keep doing your cardio, you're not getting too fat, but you're in, let's say, around 15-18% body fat, and you're kind of cruising in that little stage where you're not chasing being too lean, alright? So enough about that. Don't stay too much in a deficit, but most of your days have to be in a surplus. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2, compound lifts. Guys, I can't stress it enough. I see a lot of people that are in the gym, they see that, let's say, take it for an example, the single arm lat pull down with the bench, alright? We see a lot of people doing it nowadays. It's a famous exercise. But those things will only work after building that mass. Yes, we see a lot of bodybuilders doing them, but those bodybuilders been building that mass and foundation with pull-ups, barbell rows, bench press, deadlift, squats, and that's why they have that mass and that mind-muscle connection that now they can go and focus on the isolations. And for you, if you don't have that mass yet, you haven't built up that foundation again, well, going on those isolation and the mind-muscle connection and focusing too much on that early on will not benefit you, because you gotta put that mass first. You gotta make sure that you have something to work with, all right, if it makes any sense. The compound lifts, guys, it's what's gonna give you the most bang for your buck as a natural. Also, someone that is enhanced can get away with skipping them, but naturals will get a great hormonal impact from deadlifts, squats, overhead press, barbell rows, bench press, dips, pull-ups, walking lunges with dumbbells. Yes, it's gonna work many muscles at the same time, but also it's gonna increase your testosterone, your growth hormone. It's just gonna get your body right, all right? It's gonna stress the body the right way. See it that way. Moving on, number 3, and this is a pretty controversial one, but I would say strength. Make sure you're getting stronger. Make sure you're getting those sets of 3 or 5 thrown in once in a while. Make sure that on those compound lifts, you do have some strength sets. Don't always focus on the higher reps and the mind-muscle connection and the stretch and the squeeze, but all the natural lifters that I know, they squat heavy, they deadlift heavy, they bench press heavy, and they're super strong. That's the thing that I want to emphasize on, is the strength aspect has to come along with your gains. And as a natural, I don't think you can get away without really being super strong if you want to build a good mass. And if you think about it, once you work on that strength and you get your strength up, that means that now when you're doing your sets of 8 or 12 or 15, you're working with a greater load. All right, so guys, don't neglect strength training. It's for a reason that most of the good bodybuilders, let's say, Branch Warren, Ronnie Coleman, yes, they're not naturals, but if you think about it, they all started as power lifters. Even Arnold started as a power lifter, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, the strength has to be in there. It has to. They go along. All right. It's not that, oh, I just don't want to get strong. I want to get big. I just don't want to get big. I want to get strong. They go hand in hand, especially when you're a natural lifter, because of, like I said, you're not relying on anything else. So moving on, and I want to talk about the strength just very fast. It doesn't mean that you have to lateral raise your PR and go for sets of 5 on lateral raise. For the strength, it's mostly the compound lifts, the bench, deadlift, squats, the overhead press, the dips, pull-ups, barbell rows, so on and so forth. All right, so that's where you want to get your strength sets in. Moving on, number 4, that's an interesting one, and it would be don't overbulk to a point where you're over 20% body fat. All right, guys, when we're natural, we are only relying on our hormones and what we're doing in the gym, our diet, our recovery to gain muscle mass. But the thing is, when you're over bulking, what happens is that now you're, let's say, 22% body fat. Even if you have a lot of muscle mass right under it, but what happens is that your testosterone start converting into estrogen. Now your body is super stressed because of that overweight that you're carrying on. Your body is super stressed. You're in this fight or flight mode. Your body is stressed. Cortisol goes up. Testosterone goes down. And that's why a lot of people that are pretty fat, they will have man boobs, even though they have a lot of muscle mass right under. But it's because of the hormonal impact of that overweight, the hormonal impact of them being too fat and taking the bulk too much, too far. All right, you don't want to be over 20% body fat. When you start seeing those love handles and those man boobs, guys, it's time to drop off that body fat. Get that cardio, keep that cardio in there. You don't want to be just bulking. You don't want to just be, okay, I'm in a bulking season, I'm eating McDonald's, laying on the sofa, playing Call of Duty on my PS5, and I'm not going outside because I don't want to burn muscles. It doesn't work that way. Keep that cardio, keep that body like a machine, and bulking doesn't mean you become, it doesn't mean it has to be a dirty, bad looking bulk. All right, keep it reasonable in terms of the body fat. You don't want to go above 20%, and it's not just because it doesn't look good, but also because of the hormonal impact. Like I said, testosterone will go down, and you're not building any more muscles. All right, you're just stressing your body too much, and it's not an optimal state where you want to be. So don't take the bulk too far. Don't do it. Don't do it. You might say, well, Lee Priest in his off season went up too far, but he was enhanced. So he was relying also on the PEDs that he was taking, and also the PEDs were helping him cut down a lot faster. But you don't have that. You're natural, so you gotta understand that you gotta keep it in a range where it's healthy, controllable for you, and ideal to keep building muscle mass. All right. The ideal percentage, I believe, as a natural is 15%. 15%. Oof, I feel at my best. 15%. I've got my carbs in. I'm in a maintenance. I'm training hard. I'm at my all-time strength. You know, you don't need to go much higher. 16, 17, I start feeling like I'm pushing it. At 18, that's where I'll just stop the bulk. All right. Yes, I'm a bit stronger, but it's not worth it going as much. And after 20%, you're just not stronger anymore. You're just heavier, but that's it. All right. So that was tip number 4. Keep the cardio in. Very important. Cardio, guys, whether you're prepping, on season, off season, trying to bulk up, trying to lean down, cardio always has to be in there. All right. Yes, it's for the heart, but it's also to keep that metabolism going. Your body's like a machine, and just stopping the cardio and just eating is not gonna be ideal. I can make a whole video about it. I think I already did. Number 5, a rule that everybody will hate. It takes time. Patience, patience, patience. Guys, I've been doing it for 10 years. What am I saying? For 13 years, maybe 14 now. It takes time, guys. As a natural lifter, your body doesn't want to really put that much muscle on, all right? It takes time. Don't have false expectation thinking that you'll become as big as your favorite fitness influencer in 2 months because they said they did it naturally. All right, it takes time, and you will not get as big as enhanced lifters. You gotta understand that. So get your expectations right, and then understand that the goal that you're aiming for has to be realistic. So I'm 5'7", 160, maybe now 158. Let's say now that I'm on a cut. I know I'm not gonna get to 200 pounds. It's just unrealistical for a natural lifter. Lean. I'm not gonna get to 200 pound lean. It's almost impossible. So once you know that, once your expectations are right, you understand that it will take time, and the goal that you're going for. It's like someone working at a minimum wage, let's say, and they're expecting to become a millionaire in 2 years, but they're just working at a minimum wage. It's gonna frustrate them, and then they're gonna end up maybe doing something else because they want that million. You know what I mean? Don't get those expectations wrong. Understand that what you're doing naturally will take time, and love the process, enjoy the process. I tell people at least you need 5 solid years of training to start getting a good body. A good 5 and dieting, alright? Me, yeah, I've been training for 13, 14 years, but guys, the first 2, 3 years, most of the time, all I was eating was falafel and fried sandwiches. I'm from Syria, where I grew up, and I used to work at a gym, and next door there was a falafel place. They used to sell falafel and fried sandwiches. That's what I used to eat in my lunch, alright? So, wasn't the best diet. And in the gym, I maybe did legs 10 times in those 2 years, you know what I mean? So, and most of my exercises were biceps and bench press. So yeah, the first 2, 3 years, you're just messing around at the gym and you're getting yourself, you know, you're having fun, but it takes time, guys. It takes time. It takes time. That's pretty much it for this video. 5 rules every natural should follow. Came on top of my head, you know. I don't prepare much for those videos. I just open the camera and talk with you guys. So let me know if you guys think I forgot any of the important rules. I'm sure there's plenty out there. Let me know if there's one that I didn't mention that is very important. And I'll see you guys soon. Ciao.